Hi there and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing something that I promised and kind of put off doing for a really long time. And I'm finally going to be sharing like a little list thing of my favorite songs from Eurovision 2022 that's about to start this week. And I got I've been doing two videos prior to this one where I've talked about the songs I most want to qualify from each semifinal, and I put all of them into like a final, so my ideal type of final here. And then I tried to rank my ideal final. So I got my list in front of me here where I've ranked all of the songs that would be in my personal little final. Um, and you know, the previous two videos, they became way too long as they were, so I'm gonna try and keep myself pretty short on everything that goes on here. And that starts with just getting right into the list. I'm in 25th place for me personally this year. Is a song that I didn't really choose to be in this final right here, and it's the one from Germany. Um, it's it's a song that I don't think I would rank much lower than 25th if I could. It would be somewhere around this place, regardless of it being in the final already or not. But it's just one of those songs that I don't really think offers anything really outstanding to the table, I guess. It's a song where I think the ideas are all there, and it feels like it's a pretty intimate song, and it feels very personal to him as a performer. But then at the same time, I don't really think the music stacks up to what the message of the song wants to be. It tries to be really emotionally hard hitting and kind of relying on a lot of the instruments to really carry that impact forward as well, while the instrumentation and to a certain extent the production quality of everything feels quite restrained and not really backing up the emotions that he tries to carry through his vocals that well, in my opinion. So it just feels like kind of an unfinished project to me. The way when I just listen to the song back and really try and delve into the whole purpose of it, um, it's a bit of a shame because I'm really fond of this music style, but I just think this one is done quite carefully, or carefully can be a good thing, but here in this case, I think it's a style that kind of demands you to take a little bit of a risk and to really put everything forward and kind of try and steal the spotlight. And here it mostly feels like a mellow backing track, which kind of contradicts the whole purpose I'm getting from the song, lyrically and vocally, I guess. So Germany just has to kind of fit in on 25th place for me. This is all based on only studio cuts, by the way, because I haven't seen the rehearsals and stuff. Maybe it works so much better live because, you know, the problems that I sometimes have with songs in Eurovision kind of just get overshadowed when you see them live because the performances kind of overshadow the production qualities of some songs. So maybe this one will just grow on me when I see it live, and I don't have to think about the uh, the approach they've taken production wise. But regardless, everyone's on board with with how I go about these rankings. I have to put Germany last because, you know, there's nothing for me to put last because I've chosen all of the other songs in this final, which means that I kind of really like all of them. So moving forward, 24th place, I've had to put Iceland here because I wasn't really sure if I really wanted it to go through from the first semi. The first semi is a tad weaker for me personally. I really like the Icelandic song here, but I kind of have some few issues with it. And one of the main ones, or the main one really, is that it doesn't quite fulfill the whole progression that it sets out to do. I'm loving the instrumentation of it. The acoustic guitars are a perfect fit for just the world building. And there's this electric guitar that kind of really puts the mood in it as well, along with this harmony type of singing that the three sisters do on stage. But I just really wished for something after this final breakdown to the song to really get the chorus going a little bit more, maybe a bit more drumming, maybe more incorporation of the electric guitar, just something more. And that's kind of where Iceland falls a little bit flat for me personally. And I've just had to put it 24th because there are 23 songs that I enjoy more than it. And one of those that I put in 23rd place is the Albanian one. And this one is really interesting because I like a lot of the ideas here. I love the opening of it. It's really energetic straight from the get-go with chanting and then instrumental hooks that are kind of foreign to a lot of listeners, I think. It's quite it has a lot of identity, I think, the song in that sense. Then I kind of like you get into the song and there's a lot of nice percussive elements and a lot of nice rhythm being built up. The first kind of drop section of the song isn't really my thing. I think the sound design of it is really off-putting. But then the second time around, I think the drop sounds really, really cool because it's a little bit more laid back and kind of just hooks me more because it has this contrast as well with the really attitude-driven vocal approach. It's just a really enjoyable song for me to listen to, but I don't set out to listen to it as much as I guess other songs within a similar kind of style, which we have in this final. So I've just had to put Albania towards the bottom of this list, but still keep in mind that I like all of the songs in this list, so it's not like I'm completely slating it or anything. 22nd, I put Latvia, and I mean it's not really it's not the lyrical masterpiece, but it's still pretty instrumentally clever. And, it's done with tongue in cheek. I find the charm in it. And out of the more, jokey entries from this year, this is my favorite one because it just has that redeeming quality, I think, music wise as well. And I just kind of like the whole vibe of everything they're going for. But still, I can't really put it any higher above the other songs that I like more than it, just because I find it charming. It's still a bit silly at places, but I'm still getting dragged into it a lot. So I've put it in 22nd place here. Right behind in 21st place, Israel, which is I'm really loving every time I listen to this song. I enjoy it so much. I think it's so memorable. I think it's so just catchy. You nod along to it. You get I get really hyped just listening to it. And I like the whole atmosphere it sets. It has a very nice progression as well throughout the song, I think. Like the verses are well structured, and I'm loving how they incorporate rhythms and just stack them on top of each other to build the song. And I'm liking the instrumental hooks. They're pretty memorable for me. And just the whole package, it's just such an energetic collection of things that just really hits me. So it's just enjoyable, really, and that's all there is to it. It's not really superbly well written or well executed in any other way, but it's just really fun and memorable for me. So I kind of have to put it a bit high because, it's a fun little listening experience, and I enjoy it every time it comes on. If I put a playlist on shuffle and this song comes on, I will never skip it. That doesn't happen. I just have too much fun listening to it. A song I don't really have that much fun listening to, but I really just kind of enjoy listening to it, is the song I put in 20th, which is Armenia. And this song, I'm kind of a sucker for guitar-driven, I guess, pop ballad typey songs, a bit folk-like. And I kind of like, there are a lot of cool ideas in this. There's like this progression that is really mellow, and there's a lot of work with just really focusing on the guitar and what it can do with different strumming patterns and different approaches, and the drumming is really mellow and pleasant in the background. I just don't kind of think that it has that complete impact and stamp that it leaves on you with its hook or with its expansion throughout the song. A section I really like, though, which I think is just perfect that they've incorporated, is the fact that when you've heard the chorus the second time around, they add a little bit of variation to create a B section in this chorus with the piano notes really just filling out the soundstage. It's just these minor, small details that kind of just fulfill songs for me that make them twice or three times as much more enjoyable for me. Because it really shows that they really wanted to make something more out of the basic concept that they have from the beginning. So I just think there are a lot of good stuff about the Armenian song. It's just one of those that doesn't really grab me altogether. But an enjoyable one nonetheless, and I've put it in 20th, so I guess it's like top half out of all of the songs for this year for me. In 19th, I've put Spain, which is a song that I've seen, performed live so many times now as well that if I would have taken that into considerations, I would have moved this up a few spots because it's a song made to be performed. It's not, for me personally, this isn't my music genre or music style at all. And whenever I listen to it in the studio cut, I get dragged into it, but it's not one of these songs that I go crazy for. I could just as well skip it, to be honest. And I think it's mostly because of the kind of a little bit monotonous hook that it has, which just doesn't really stick with me. It doesn't gel with me. Even though I like the whole production side of things, I like how the song builds towards the instrumental hooks. And I think it's a really like catchy melodic input they have in especially the build-up that leads into this kind of monotonous hook. So there are cool songwriting ideas here. I just wished for the chorus to be a bit more melodic, a bit more engaging in that sense. But I get what they're doing. They're going for a more rhythmic approach to make it match the performance of the song. But I think what you lose out a little bit on as well is the replayability for a studio cut. It's a compromise, you can make. And I think Spain has made that one this time around. It's still an enjoyable song for me, but I don't really think I can put the studio cut above the songs that I have above it because I enjoy listening to those on their own more than the Spanish one. So that's why Spain is in my 19th place, which is still a pretty respectable place, I would say. I like these songs a lot up here. It's a pretty solid year in altogether. There are not a lot of stuff that I really dislike, and I've kind of eliminated all of that in the semi-talk videos. In 18th, I put Azerbaijan, and this song just screams so much missed potential for me because I'm loving the song when it actually gets going. There are so many sections in this song where I feel like they've done everything so well and so right. And I think the first time that actually happens, I think the opening is a bit odd and off-putting just on its own. But when the piano picks up leading into the first chorus, that is one of these moments where you just think like, wow, they really know how to transition between segments, because this part is actually fantastic in the whole atmospheric build. But then the first chorus hits and it's very drawn out, it's kind of slow, and it's very melodramatic in that sense. I'm not sure if I'm completely sold on that. But then you lead into the second verse where they add these more they add a more varied instrumentation, they incorporate the drumming more, and it starts building again, and you think like, okay, we're back on a pretty good track here. And then the second time around the chorus hits, there's this pause before the chorus hits, and it's just really odd to listen to and really get through. Maybe it's intended more for just to really make it work on stage. That could be it. But when you just listen to the whole song as a listening experience, it kind of takes you out of the song at times, which is kind of annoying in a sense. But then I always come back to the reason why it's still 18th on my list is when I come back to the final minute of the song, which I think is almost perfection. And I say almost because I have a nitpick with it as well. But when the song actually starts building towards the final minute there, when the digital kick drum really comes in and follows along with the pulsating rhythm of the vocal, carrying it towards this final little climax of the song, it's just one of these moments where I think everything is complete here. It's so well put together, it's so well executed, and I'm loving every second of it when it actually happens. And then it also leads into this climax. We get this big grand finale in the song, which is such a great release. But my really big issue with this is also that this final release of the song is kept so short, because then they cut it off again at the end and have this, intimate, sentimental ending where they just cut out all of the instruments. And I think really what they could have done is just continue with this massive grand ending, because I just really love every second of that when it actually gets going. And I'm really looking forward to seeing it on stage as well, because it's such just a kind of a monumental ending to the song. Azerbaijan has a great song this year. I really enjoy it, but there are so many ideas where I'm feeling like, why have they done this? And it's a weird one for me, but still really enjoy it. And I also really enjoy it. It feels so weird to see it down in 17th, but I put the Netherlands in 17th because this song hasn't really managed to grip me, and it's so weird because people have always told me like, "Oh, you're gonna love the Dutch entry this year. It's so typical for my style," and it really is. It works on so many levels for me, and I'm really enjoying it. Sorry for shaking the camera. I'm really enjoying it every time I listen to it. It's a real joy to just sit back and take in everything that goes on in the song. But for whatever reason, I don't come back to it and listen to it often enough. I really enjoy how the guitar sounds in the song, and I think there is a good idea with how they combine the different instrumentation approaches in the song, but it just doesn't click with me. There isn't that final little detailing that really takes it over the line for me. And I think maybe it could be something with a melodic deficiency in the hook of the song, because it kind of drags out and it doesn't really uh, latch on to me. I don't get excited listening to the vocal hook of this chorus. And that could be it. I'm not entirely sure on what my exact reasoning for not really loving this song is. I still really like it, but I don't love it, and I kind of expect myself to do so. When I just listen to the opening of the song, I feel like, oh, this is fantastic, but then I never really return to it. It's a weird one. We'll see how it looks on stage. It might just feel like the complete package when we really see it. But for now, I've put it in 17th, right below a song that I've been listening to so many times. I can't count. I have no idea how many times I've heard it, but it's the one from Romania, which has probably the most infectious hook for me from the entire year. This instrumental hook that comes after the first part of the chorus, it's just one of these fulfilling moments where you feel like, oh, everything's been leading to this section, and this section is just stacked with enjoyment. It's danceable, it's memorable, it has its own identity instrumentation wise, and it's also really well polished and produced. It just feels so complete whenever we reach this section. I think like the verse sections of the song are a bit restrained and kind of not too exciting, but every time you just get into this whole chorus of the song, it's such an earworm in a sense, and it just really gets in my head. And then when it releases into this B part of the chorus, I just feel this fulfillment, and I'm loving every second of it. And I've listened to it so many times, and I'm gonna keep listening to it because it makes me happy listening to it. So Romania, I've put that in 16th place. I still kind of doubt that it will be in the final at all, but in my little final, they've got a 16th place here. Right behind Estonia, which I think kind of is a full package within its own style, because Estonia's song this year has identity, that's for sure, and it's very cleverly written as well within its own style. And it feels so weird for me not to just put it, in the top 5 or so, because there is nothing for me to complain about in this song. I just really enjoy everything about it, but at the same time, it's also the same as with the Netherlands. I don't really return to this song that often, but every time I listen to it, I just really enjoy myself. And I think there are clever songwriting ideas here. The use of a call response technique in the verses. There's the whistling, there's the electric guitar, and then there's his really characteristic vocal performance in the middle. And they kind of incorporate these sections into each other while working this guitar-driven backing track. It's a clever way to really structure the song and in this section, because there's a lot of variation being offered into it because of these different inputs. And I kind of admire how they've written the song, and this final chorus, which just feels like the complete release. It's a full package in that sense. I think there are some structural flaws here and there in this song. It's a bit draggy at times. I can't really pinpoint right now when I just talk about it, but you can watch the review I've made for this song on my channel if you're interested to hear more about that. But it really feels like a complete package for me. But I still really can't put it higher than 15th, because the 14 songs above it are just fantastic as well, in my opinion. And in 14th, I've put Lithuania, I kind of expected myself to put this one way higher because it just, the first time I heard it, I felt so like I fell into a trance kind of with how everything just worked together. There's this constant movement that just drags you into this own little mysterious world that it has going for it. And I'm loving like her sultry little vocal performance that really just drags you into this ambience that we have. It's this tight little confined space that you just have this song and you're just nodding along to it. You're moving along to the rhythm of it. It's a very what do you call it? Like the song evokes emotion, I think, and evokes feelings in a sense that isn't maybe, you know, of heartbreak or of joy. It's more just the feeling of being somewhere else and being overtaken by just the music. Um, Getting way too abstract here. It's cleverly written. There are a lot of nice chord movements. There's a very nice and characteristic vocal performance, and I'm loving the whole instrumental vibe of the song as well, along with the production quality, which is really strong as well. Uh, Really a home run for Lithuania, I think. Should probably get a good result this year. I think they will. I'm crossing my fingers for that. Maybe not as good as the song I have right above it though, because Australia is my 13th this year. And this is a song where I've moved around a lot in my list, but then when I really sat down and listened to it once more, I really got this vibe of what a power it really has at certain points. It's kind of a little bit like Azerbaijan. It has sections where I think are kind of unfulfilled, but then at other parts of the song, I feel like this is so complete and perfected. And I think just the opening and how the first half of the song builds, it's so captivating and it really drags me in as a listener. And the first chorus, when the first chorus hits and he holds out these long, not the same notes, and they've killed the music. It becomes one of these moments that such intimacy and really just creates this whole space where you're a part of this beautiful little moment where he really pours out his emotions. It's really tangible. It's really captivating, and I always really get dragged in and affected by this song. I think the constant repetition of the same line is a setback for it. And there could have definitely been a more melodically engaging chorus line or certain parts of the song where there could have been more variation with the vocal arrangement. But I think what really sets it apart is just how the instrumental works with his vocals and how at certain parts of the song everything just sounds kind of perfect in my ears in terms of production and in terms of the arrangement. It just has the whole sound design of everything. And I think also how the instrumental is designed in its sound to match his vocal. It's like a little hidden, or what do you say? Ooh, how should I explain it? It's very difficult to really find the perfect sound in the music to match a certain type of vocal, but I think they really got the perfect combination here, and it sounds just stellar at times. Very dreamlike and still very vulnerable and emotionally engaging. Australia 13th. I've talked about Australia too much now. Hope they get a good result. I think they could. Serbia is what I have put in 12th place, and I'm expecting a pretty good result for them this year. I think this is really engaging and captivating, especially when you just see how they can perform it and just really drag in an entire audience, because this hook is infectious. It really sticks to your head, and along with the clapping, I'm assuming they're going to incorporate that on stage. I think people will get hooked just seeing it and listening to it. And this chorus is definitely one that will be remembered. It's also quite cleverly constructed. This song, I think, the verses have this really just distinct backing track that is kind of minimalistic, but it works so well in combining with the characteristic vocal delivery. But I think definitely the hook of this song is the selling point. and I'm just really enjoying it. Like every time I listen to it, I just get, you clap along. It's very easy to do, and I think there are just a lot of things to admire about this song. And every time I listen to it, I really just enjoy myself as well. Kind of similarly as with Romania, but I just think this one has a more distinct package around it, I guess. Uh, and in 11th, I've put Cyprus. This song has just continued to grow and grow and grow on me. It's so just charming and inviting and relaxing to have on in the background. I think it's a perfect song for me to be out walking to. I've realized that lately, because right now in Sweden it's become a bit more sunny and a bit warmer, and just walking around and this song comes on, I feel such bliss. It's quite odd. But it's a really well polished song. The production quality of it is immense. I'm loving the percussive variation throughout the song, and there's also this really memorable hook that has its own character to it as well, which is just really pleasant. And I'm liking how the song progresses as well. It feels a bit formulaic, or like it sticks to a pretty simple concept, but it does it to its perfection, because the song has its own identity, that it doesn't really matter that it sticks to a predictable structure, because that just kind of works in its favor, because even though the structure could be predictable, you still have the variation in sounds and in detailing and in elements and in percussion, in instrumentation. So there's still a lot of things to latch onto, so the structure doesn't have to be outstanding as well. Very rarely does a structure really have to be something out of the ordinary. And in this song, I think everything is just constructed so well that, and since it's constructed so well, they've allowed their creativity to really lie in sound design and in production and detailing. And it just works for this song, I think. And it's one of these that just continues to grow and grow on me, and I'm just really enjoying myself every time I listen to it. So, the top 10 is next, and I'm gonna be a bit sneaky here, because I'm gonna not reveal my top 10 right now. Because I just feel like I've been talking for 27 minutes now, and you'll have to wait for the next video for me to talk about my top 10. You probably realize what songs are up in there, but I'm not gonna reveal the order just yet. You'll have to wait for the next video. I'm terribly sorry, but I'm not gonna make 40-minute videos on my channel, even though I'm pretty close to it. But yeah, thank you for watching this video, where I've gone through my 25th to 11th place in my ideal little Eurovision final. I hope to see you in the final version, where I go through my top 10. Have a good one until I see you then.